Welcome to a very special episode of the magazine. Today we're going to explore the 91st anniversary of the Our Lady of Angels Feast and Procession. So sit back and watch all the great details that are put into making this magnificent feast. We're here with the president of the Our Lady of Angels Catholic Association right here on 7 Jesse Street in Fairhaven. And we want to welcome John Barboza.
Thank you.
John.
Thank you. It's nice, pleasure to be here talking to you.
Well, great to have you.
Pleasure to be talking to my treasurer.
Yes, I definitely have that honor of being the treasurer here also. So, John, tell us what the process is to have a feast of this size.
Well, feast of this size, we are known as the biggest little feast. And yes, the property is not that big, but the feast itself in character is huge. It's been around for 91 years. As far as the process, as far as setting up, there's a lot of planning involved. Takes at least a couple of months to get all the planning involved, you know what I mean? And then you got to do all your ordering of product. You got to make sure you have plenty of help to do everything that you need. But we've been fortunate enough to have a good crew of guys that show up all the time to help us. And without them, this would not be possible. I mean, we have electricians, we have plumbers, we have carpenters, we got guys that just work hard, and that's what we do. We all come together, and after a while, we've been known to be the Dirty Dozen. But over the years, now it's the Dirty 30. So we have come up and help, and it's a good thing because there is a lot of work involved, and it's continuous. Until the day we open up, till the day we close, we don't stop working. And it's always been that way for years, as long as I can remember.
And these are all volunteers?
All volunteers. No one gets paid. No one gets paid. Some people have suggested that they would like to receive cash, but then we just show them the way out.
So why do you do this, John?
I think it's for the love of Our Lady. And honestly, I do it because I want to do good things with my life. Mm-hmm. I want to do things. This is my way of helping the community. This is my way of helping out other people in need, because everything that we do here eventually all gets donated to mostly the hungry, the needy, mm-hmm. Places like that. All places that could use all the help that they can get, especially today in today's day and age. So.
Yeah, I know for a fact you've helped out many food pantries here yes. with the donations and St. Mary's Church.
Yep. That's what we do. And we always helped out the shelters, Yes. We believe in stuff like that, helping out the poor, and that's what drives us, And when it's all done, it makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. You get a good feeling about yourself. You did something, you accomplished something that not everybody wants to set a goal to do that, But it takes a certain few to do things like this.
And it kicks off with a procession.
Yes, it does. On Monday, at 1 o'clock, the procession starts from St. Mary's Church, goes up and around Benoit Square. It's usually about maybe an hour and a half, maybe sometimes 2-hour process. But it's a fun time. Everybody comes out and watches. And it's a traditional thing that's been going on since day one. So it's not new to the town. Everybody knows about it. Right. So, yeah, we enjoy it, and we look forward to it.
Now, last year was the 90th anniversary.
Yes.
And we had COVID.
I know.
So our 91st anniversary.
This is our 91st because last year, as you know, you can't cheat time. So if it was the 90th, then it has to be the 90th. But Our Lady did come out. She did a small roundabout around the churchyard. We played the hymn. We opened the front doors, faced her to the altar, which that's never happened.
Right.
So we've done some good things. But even then, it was, with the COVID, we still accomplished her coming out and carried on the tradition. And we made some Holy Ghost soup, which is not something we normally do. Right. But we did that, and everybody that, was present enjoyed themselves, and that's what counted. And we did have some people, even though we didn't have a feast, we did have some organizations and some people that made some charitable donations. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget them, because without them, we wouldn't be able to survive.
So you have a plan. You just mentioned plan. So yeah. You have a plan. How does the plan?
Well, the plan starts 6 to 7 weeks before the feast. I mean, first we start figuring out what days we're going to start showing up. Usually, we've had a lot of projects that we used to have to do. Well, we don't have to do those anymore because now we have almost all the booths that are just clean them up and they're ready to go. Yep. But we do have a new addition this year. We have the pizza booth, so that's all the new things set up. Last year, being COVID, we didn't really have any time to do any cleaning up with the booths because we didn't have a feast. So this year was just a heck of a lot harder, with a lot more cleanup. But as far as the planning, it starts 6 to 7 weeks in advance. And then once we get a schedule, first we started this year off, we did Monday to Wednesday.
Okay.
And then as it got closer, once we got into August, we went from Monday to Thursday. And now is what they call the HELL week. Yep. From now it's a marathon, probably till, I would say, a good 11 days straight without stopping.
And it's a process of even getting the statues ready, checking every light.
Oh, yes. You got to check all the light bulbs. Everything's got to go up. I mean, it's all labor, intense. I mean, there's nothing that, other than the fire department that comes down, gives us a hand putting up the decorating on the church, which is a little higher. And thank God for them. They've been helping us for years doing that. And now the new chief, Chief Tim Francis, retired, and he's already confirmed everything with the new chief, Todd, I think. Todd Career. And so he came down and he helped us out. Actually, he didn't come down and help us out because he was fighting a fire yesterday.
Okay, yes.
There was a boat on fire in the harbor, and they were doing that. So Tim Francis came down, and the gentleman that goes in the boom truck, he came down. Both are retired.
Yeah.
So I guess they'll never leave, which is a good thing for us. So, but they were going to show the ropes to the younger crew, and they just happened to be busy. So when we take the stuff down from the church this year after the feast, they'll either be here or they'll see what's going on for next year. But yes, it's a long process. I mean, putting the barrels out. Thank God for a couple of friends that has a machine with a trailer, puts all that out for us. This club is blessed. It's blessed in the sense that it has all the help it needs. And it's blessed in the sense because we have people that have craftsmanship, have products that we can borrow, have things that they'll bring to the table with them, And in that sense, I think I am happy and glad to be part of this, The group of people here is unbelievable. They're amazing. I mean, we've become a family, I don't think there's anybody out there that wouldn't do anything for anybody else, That's just the kind of people we have here. And if it wasn't, then I don't think I'd be here, Right. So.
And during your tenure as president, you also created the ticket system now.
Yes, I did.
So what can people expect about that?
It's an easy process. You walk in, everything's right there in black and white, just read the signs. You put your money in the ticket machine, you take out your tickets, and it's valuable for whatever you're buying at the feast, except for some vendors. We do have vendors this year. I know we have a jewelry vendor. Okay. We do have face painting. I think some person's coming to sell hats and stuff like that. You have to pay in cash. Sure. But all the product of the feast is all done with ticket. It's a ticket process. It keeps everyone in the honesty policy. Sure. And it actually helps. It doesn't slow things down with counting money. Right. I mean, you take the tickets, you toss them. Right. When you had to go count money, we needed cashier in every booth. And God bless T. Joe, he did that every year. He sat there from the opening night until Sunday night at midnight, straight through. And on Monday, he would sit out there and he would do the auction. He'd buy items, donate them back in memory of his deceased loved ones. But the ticket process makes things so much more easier. It really does.
And what kind of items do you think people can expect at the auction?
Well, we always end up with a few items donated from Coors Colonial Beverage. Okay. But you never know what you're going to get. We've had an organ in here that got donated for the auction. Wow. We've had 12-speed bikes. But you can always count on seafood. The Canastras, God bless them, they always bring their share of seafood for the auction and then buy it back and donate it back and buy it back and donate it back. But we have items like watermelons. Some people donate cakes. Other people donate bottles. All in memory of deceased loved ones, Sure. And in my opinion, a true donation is an anonymous donation. But there are a lot of those. Mm-hmm. But yeah, everybody comes together. And I mean, we sell a watermelon for $200. That's crazy, right.
And as the head auctioneer, what do you say when the They
cut it up for the kids. Sold. 1, 2, 3 souls. In the past, we used to have animals, livestock, and that became a burden because now you got to go to the play. I mean, you're busy here, so you got to leave here. You go to the farm and pick up 2 chickens or 2 rabbits, and then you get here. You auction them off for $20. So you just spent 4 or 5 hours going to do this for $20. Now we sell a watermelon. We auction off a watermelon for $200.
Right.
A dozen cookies, I've seen it go for over $1,000. It's crazy, and it's all people that do it in donation in memory of their loved ones. You know, and that's the amazing part. So, if anyone wants to come see a real auction, this is the place.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
No,
Sunday and Monday.
no, Sunday for a little bit. So if you want to buy a sweetbread or a watermelon, Sunday's the day to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're probably not going to get one for less than $100 on Monday. Just saying.
Right. And a very important part of this whole process here too is the mass.
Yes.
10 a.m.
10 o'clock.
On
We have
Sunday.
Father Aruda from the Diocese of Fall River. He's a retired father, but he knows Portuguese very well. And our mass is always traditional, and it's always in Portuguese. So if you want to listen to a traditional Portuguese mass, come to the mass at 10 o'clock, St. Mary's Church in Fairhaven on Main Street. And before him, we had Father Jack Olivero, which is actually retiring this year.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but I think I can keep him on reserve just in case. But it is becoming a situation because Portuguese priests they're not as many as they used to be. And I hope we can keep the tradition going with the Portuguese Mass. But if the case may come, we might have to change to English. Well, we got to do what we got to do to keep the tradition going also of the feast.
But for now, you probably have a lot in your reserve.
Yeah, I got some calls. I got a few lists. I got a list. So
Very good. So what's the one thing that you want people to leave here after they've come to the Our Lady of Angels Feast? What do you want them to think when they leave the gates?
when they leave the gate, I want them to leave with a full stomach.
Yes.
I want them to be safe at all times because we've had some patrons that tend to tip a little too much, but we keep an eye on them, you know what I mean? We keep a level on that. I want them to realize the tradition that they're here, that they're being part of. Most of the people that come here for the feast, most of the patrons, come here every year. And they've been doing it since they were kids. Their parents brought them here. Now they're bringing their kids here.
Right.
And if that keeps going on, I don't ever see this place dying out,
Right.
which is the goal, to keep it alive. In St. Michael in Aguatá, it's over 500 years now.
Wow.
So we're only on our 91st. We got a long way to go.
Do you think you'll be president 500 years from now, John?
I absolutely not. Maybe from heaven.
From heaven.
Hopefully if I get there.
Oh, I think you will. But not too soon.
Yeah, no, not at all. I got time.
So, John, you're doing a great job as president.
Thank you.
The club is very blessed to have you.
Thank you.
And we pray for a very successful feast weekend ahead.
I hope so. I hope so. I don't see any rain in the forecast, so it looks good.
Excellent.
We'll see what happens.
Excellent. Thank you.
We're always prepared either way. The show will always go on.
The show will go on.
That's
So
right.
we'll go on. Great.
Good.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Now we're blessed to have with us Mrs. Margaret Mata. Welcome, Mrs. Mata,
Thank you for inviting me.
and thank you for being here. So, ever since I've been coming to the feast, I've known you. So, what are some of the things that you've done here at the feast?
I've worked in the Malasada booth. I've worked a little once, sometimes in the kitchen, but basically now my job is just to set up for the appreciation dinner after the Mass on the Monday.
And why have you been so dedicated your whole life to the Our Lady of Angels?
It's part of our heritage. It's our tradition. My grandparents lived across the street from the church when I was growing up, and it wasn't Labor Day unless you came to the feast and you came to Mass and see the procession. So
How do you see this Portuguese tradition carrying on now?
the younger generation is very different. It's not involved. Church is not a main part of our society, of our life. But it's happening everywhere. It's not just here in our community, it's all over the United States. And I even think Portugal now is beginning to have a little bit of the same problems they were having. But they seem to be more traditional, more involved in the church. And the church, well, it's a different society anyways. It's church is part of their lifestyle. Society revolves around the church. And here we go to church. A lot of people go to church because it's an obligation, but it's not with the love and the devotion that the older timers would have.
So we were kind of a year without a full procession and not a parade, which many people, it's not a parade, it's a procession.
It's a procession.
What is the feeling that you get when you watch that procession?
You get memories, you get your devotion of seeing Our Lady and praying to her and hoping that the year will be a better year, and that to guide the young generation, to guide all of us through, especially now through this pandemic. My husband and I pray every day to Our Lady and hope that she will guide everyone. We pray for our friends who are ill, that she would guide them and help and intercede for them, and ask Jesus to help them and help them.
So with more younger people getting involved here at the Our Lady of Angels Club, and mostly all relatives of members, and them seeing the procession, what kind of impact do you think will have on them?
We're hoping that it will inspire them to participate and continue with the tradition. And it's great to see all the younger people working on the grounds, because when I started many moons ago, we were the young ones, and the older people were very different, and you had to do it their way, and you had to cook the meal this way, and you had to make the malasadas that way. You couldn't change, But everyone here is open to change, and they were willing to accept and help all the help they can get. And it's great because they want to participate, they want to keep involved, and they want to carry, even though there may be third or fourth or even fifth generation Portuguese, even if they are Portuguese. But they like the tradition, and I think what helps is because the concept of a lot of it is for charity. That's the main thing. And they say, and they know that it's for a good cause. And I think that's another thing, because we want to help each other in this world. Because without each other, there's nothing.
I think that sums it up correctly. And, Mrs. Mata, we are so blessed to have you and your husband, as such integral members of this community and this club. And we thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And may she guide us all this weekend. And as Senora Gloria Castellano said to her one year, you make it good weather for us to have a good feast.
Well, thank you. I'm sure our prayers are going to be heard.
I hope so. I hope so.
Now we have the honor of being with Joe Mello. Joe, welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
And I hear that Caserla is in your blood.
A little bit. Not in my blood. My brother's blood, mainly.
Oh, the Mello blood.
The Mello blood, that's correct. Yeah, my father started making Caserla since I was a little kid, and I'm 66 years old. And he's been making it since I was a child. You think I'd watch him, learn how to make it? Nah. People ask me if I cook like my brother, and I say, no, I go out to eat. It's easier.
So what made your brother take on this tradition, do you think?
That's a good question. There are some times, in fact, when we were doing the Caserla downstairs last week, he said something about, I don't know why I ever started this. And, it's just, I don't know. He's like my father. He's the same way with the cooking. It's his passion. He loves to cook.
So tell me what roles you've had here at the Our Lady of Angels.
What roles have I had? Well, back in '94, I became vice president with John. I was here for 2 terms, which is 4 years. And then I let it go, and then my brother took over. But I've been a member here for quite a while. I don't at least over 30 years. And we just came here to help. Ever since my father died in '94, and I never really helped. I was always a member, on paper here, but I've never helped. I never did anything. And then my father died in '94 of March, and something in my head said, go to the club and help. And that summer I came here to help. And that's when the president of today, John Barboza, he asked me to be his VP, and I said, geez, you don't know who I am. He said, I can tell you're a good man, Joe. So I became VP with him, and I've been here ever since 1994. I'm here every year when I can be. Except 1 year, 3 years ago, I couldn't be here because I had surgery, but I'm here. I do what I can.
Absolutely. And just one quick thing. Why is that tree out there so important to you?
That's where I first met my lovely wife. I spoke to her out there 1972. I was 16 years old and she was 15. In fact, there was 3 girls that we were talking to, myself and 2 other friends, and I had this one girl, I had her name, I had her address, I had everything. And then my wife walked behind her, behind the bench. She was pushing what I became to know as her cousin and her 2 cousins, one little cousin in the carriage. And I tapped my friend. I says, hey, see that girl right there? I said, I'm going to marry her. And the rest is history. But it was right there by that tree.
So this feast grounds has a lot of great memories.
Yeah, for sure. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. Like most North Fayetteville people, we all love coming here, And if you don't see each other all year, you'll come here and you'll see. I've seen people here that I went to school, at Oxford School as a child. I've seen them here, and I see them here once a year. That's it.
So can you take us through the steps of how Caserla is prepared?
My brother orders the meat, of course, and it comes in great, good-sized chunks, and he has a bunch of guys, and we all cut it. We cut it up. We cut it up in cubes, and then my brother, it's funny because we've had people come here thinking they're going to get the recipe from my brother. They're going to watch or mark it down or videotape them as far as what the ingredients are. But my brother's slicker than that. He learned from my father. He brings all the marinade already in separate buckets he's incredible. So, and then we, as we're cutting, he's putting X amount in pans, and he marinates it, and then it goes into the cooler. It's on a Tuesday. Then on Thursday, we'll cook. This week we're cooking 800 over 800 pounds.
Wow.
But it's it's quite the process. Like I said, there have been people who thought they were gonna copy the recipe. I learned it's like, what's this? What's this in this? It's the marinade. Oh, I can't watch. No, you can't. That's it. That's all you get.
But they can come and taste that delicious Caserla.
Yeah, well, everybody. Some people like it. Some people don't. I had one gentleman, an old timer. He asked me, hey, "This has cinnamon in it, doesn't it?" I said, "Nah, it has no cinnamon." No, yeah, don't tell me. I said, "Trust me, it doesn't have cinnamon. I got the recipe at home." I said, "No, it doesn't have cinnamon." So. But like I say, it's quite the process. It takes time and patience. And my brother's got some great guys that comes here, and we like today. Today there was only 8 of us, but sometimes there's 12 of us. Sometimes there's 10 of us, and we all cut. Years ago, they used to cut that meat with a bunch of old timer the women. And it would take them 3 days to cut what we did in a little over an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but of course, the women, they're cutting, they're talking. There was even some people got mad, But and then when the caserla is all made, it goes into those. After we cook it, we take it out of the big pans and we put it in hotel pans, and we cover it with aluminum foil, and it goes right back in the cooler. And then when the day of the feast, they take it out and they heat it. Then we have people making sandwiches in the back there, and God bless those people for working in that kitchen. I'll tell you, my wife is one of them now. It's unbelievable.
Great. Well, thank you, Joe.
You're very welcome.
And now we're here with Jeff Canastra. Welcome, Jeff.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. Thank you for being a part of this.
You're welcome.
So tell us something about yourself and why you want to be a part of the Our Lady of Angels.
Well, being a part of it wasn't being a part of it. You're involved with family right from the get-go. My grandfather, many years ago, probably in the 30s, and he was involved with St. Mary's Church, not as much with the feast itself, but my dad he was always involved. He was the first custodian at St. Mary's.
Oh, wow.
So we were brought around it, and they had to get the church ready for, Labor Day weekend. And that was part of it. And my father always, biggest thing with him is Our Lady carrying the Saint in the procession. That's the most important part of the feast. So then Richard carried with him, because it was tough to get into carry. There was a tradition, and then sadly the older people, getting older and they couldn't carry, so they started to ask the younger people, to Richard, and then I. So I've been doing it since I was 20 years old, and
Okay.
I'm 22 now, so I've been doing it for 2 years.
But your whole family has gotten involved.
Yes, they're involved. My sister Jean, she's a member. I think Jean and I are the only member, but the other brothers are members, but they do it things on the outside more. That's helping out if they need product, if they need certain things, and they're always involved, and the whole family.
Mm-hmm. And you've held some roles here at the Our Lady of Angels Club.
Yes, it's funny. My first year as a member, and the following year you can become an officer, and all of a sudden they got me as a secretary, then financial secretary. Then I was vice president for a few terms, and never president. President that's as you know, that's a tough role, and we always take our hats off to the presidents and past presidents because there's so much involved. And past president's done a great job, and John Barboza for so many years was a president, and other people came in for a few terms, and he got right back into it, and we thank him for that.
Yes, absolutely. Great thanks to John for his dedication, and yours also. So you mentioned about the procession. Why is the procession so important to you?
Procession is the actual tradition. As we all know, if anybody says in North Fairhaven, let's go to the parade, we'll turn around and says it's not a parade. Parades are for clowns.
Yeah.
The procession is faith, it's community. It's where you take part and you appreciate what you have in your family, in the community, in North Fairhaven, and that's why it's so important. To bring family together every year and appreciate what we have.
And you actually carry the statue also.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been doing that, Jeff?
Like I said, since I was 20, so.
Since you were 20, carrying the statue.
So I've been 42 years or so.
Just a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, we're really appreciative of everything you do. You do a lot of things behind the scenes. I know you don't like credit for it, but you do a lot of things behind the scenes that no one ever knows about because you're so dedicated to Our Lady. And we just thank you very much for all your dedication and your continued dedication and your future dedication.
Thank you, and God bless.
God bless. Now we're here with Fran Mello. Welcome, Fran.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Very welcome.
So tell us something about your role here at the Our Lady of Angels and what you do and how long you've been doing it for.
Currently, I'm a member of the board of directors. I think this is my third term, and basically helping out whenever we can. Probably been a member for, I'm guessing, about 16 years, and as a board member for probably 3 terms, so probably about 6 years as a board member. And as board members, we kind of try to direct the club in which way we think we should be heading as far as the feasts and rentals and everything else.
Excellent. How did you get involved in the feast?
Probably started when I was 9 or 10. My grandmother, Gloria Castellagio, ran the kitchen, and my earliest memories with her helping in the kitchen and opening cans of peas and trying to keep the peas in the panella as full as possible. And took a hiatus for a few years in the teenage years and in the early 20s, and then probably came back into the late 30s and picked it up again.
Great. Well, Fran, thank you very much for your dedication and service.
My pleasure.
Now we're here with Fred Raphael. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to the show. So, Fred, tell us something about why you're involved here at the Our Lady of Angels Club.
Dedication to Our Lady. Camaraderie with everybody. Doing something for the community, especially North Fairhaven, St. Mary's Church.
And how long have you been involved in the Our Lady of Angels Club?
18 years.
18 years? Wow.
I started as just a volunteer. Joe Mello asked me to come down and help us set up and tear down. We need help. We only got the dirty dozen. So I started helping out with that, and then I became a member.
Excellent. And you've held some other roles here at the Our Lady of Angels.
I was vice president for a couple of years under our late president, Ed Cabral.
And we all love Ed.
We sure do. We miss him.
Yeah, we all do. So I also understand that you carry the statue.
Yes. I've been carrying since 1997. took over from my dad. He couldn't do it anymore, so I started. So
Excellent. And why do you do that, Fred?
it's an honor. It's a real honor.
Well, all I know is that we're very grateful for you and your dedicated service and for your continued and endless dedicated service to Our Lady of Angels Club. And just thank you for being a great part of this community.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
Now we're blessed to have Joyce Mello with us here. Joyce, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Joyce, there's a lot of history here. And 91 years ago, that history started here.
It did. It started back in 1930, and it was just a celebration here that was carried on by people from St. Michael, Agua Pau, where the feast originated there. And they carried on the tradition here, and we've been doing it ever since. And we have our statue here at church, and it's just been a great tradition every year.
And why do you do this, Joyce?
I have been doing this, I have been coming to this feast over 60 years. My mom was a very devout person and always marched behind Our Lady during the procession, and she would bring me along, and I would be dressed either as an angel or a statue of some sort, and it was just a yearly thing that we did every single year. And then about almost 50 years ago, I actually met my husband here, and his relatives were also members here. And we ended up getting married years later, and back in 1994, he became the vice president here. And my role of coming to the feast changed a little bit. Now I'm known as the rice lady. So I spend my weekends in the kitchen here, making the rice and having fun doing that.
Well, it's very delicious, I know.
Well, thank you.
So what does it bring back so many memories when you just walk by that tree that you met your husband?
It does bring back a lot of memories, and it's, you know, I was 15 years old when that happened. And what's really nice also is that our son, when he was born in 1991, he was born in August, and the very first place that he came to was Our Lady of Angels Feast. And my husband used to carry the statue then, and now he's 30, and he has been carrying the statue. And he is a member of Our Lady of Angels, and he's here all weekend as well. So it's become a part of our family, a very important part of our family.
And the new generation, your younger generation, has been elected. So now he has a position here also.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
he's carrying on the tradition of both his parents.
He is. And, you know, it's just, there's a lot of pride, too. A lot of pride. And we were fortunate enough to go as a family a few years ago to the Our Lady of Angels Feast in Agua Pau. And he was able to see that as we were. And, you know, now he actually really knows where the roots came from. And he got to experience that, which was very, very meaningful as well.
That's a blessing.
It was.
Well, Joyce, thank you so much for all you do at the Our Lady of Angels Club here and all you'll continue to do.
You're very welcome. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we're here with Erin Murphy. Welcome, Erin.
Hi.
Hi, glad to have you here, Erin. So, Erin, tell us something about what you do here at the feast and how long you've been a part of the feast.
So I would say since I was like pretty much fresh out the womb, I've been coming here. But just recently I've taken over, as anyone would know, you would know that I took over the Malasada booth because you took on a new position here. So I've been doing that. I would say it would be my third year, but we can delete a year since last year didn't really happen. So this is kind of like a fresh start, and I'm starting over again this year. Since the first year I took it on, I had a lot that I wanted to change.
So you must have a whole big crew that you work with.
So it's a lot of people that have been doing it since like before I was born. They like to come in and pop in, and it is kind of fun to see the differences. But throughout the years, there's still people that you had that come in and want to help. And then we always have some of my friends are coming in to help now. So it's a big big different group.
Well, as you know, since you were born, it's been a very busy booth, and the lines are always long for malasadas. And what makes the malasada so special here at the Our Lady of Angels Feast?
It's made with love.
It's made with love. Absolutely. It is made with love. And you've had a chance to go to St. Michael and see the feast there in St. Michael. What did that inspire you to do?
It was so much fun, and the people there were just so cool, and like to have them come here when we went over there was just awesome. So makes you find a little love to see where it actually came from.
Absolutely. Even though your last name is Murphy, you have a lot of Portuguese in you. So what's it like to be a part of your Portuguese heritage?
Being half and half, but my grandfather being born there does make me feel a little special that since he passed away, at least I still can carry on a little bit of the Portuguese-ness, since I'm the only one out of my siblings that take part of this and run a booth now. So.
Well, I think because of your influence, I think your siblings will also get involved in a lot of this.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, my brother did definitely help me out, cleaning out the booth and stuff, and my sister used to when we were younger, but she did have an allergic reaction, so I try to keep her a little bit away from that, but still comes for a good time because it is the best little feast.
And I believe your little niece will be participating also.
Yep, I think I was about her age when I started mixing, so I did have her in the first year, and that was pretty fun, so it was great.
Well, thank you as a younger generation person and coming forward to make a commitment to the Our Lady of Angels Club as a member and also as a coordinator of the Malasadas booth.
I try.
You succeed. Thank you.
Okay.
Now we're here with Joey Mello from the Our Lady of Angels Feast. Welcome, Joey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So tell us something how you got involved in the Our Lady of Angels Feast.
So literally the first place I ever came as a child. So, 30 years ago, I was born on August 12th. The feast is about 2 weeks after the fact.
Right.
And the first place my parents brought me, literally after being born. So haven't missed a year in 30 years of being here, So family tradition.
So you grew up here?
Grew up here every summer, call it July through Labor Day. It was always kind of bittersweet. Every time the feast would come, it was always great to be here, but it always meant that, going back to school too. So it was kind of, bittersweet with it, but, it's something that I've always done and, will always do, I think.
And what makes you want to continue this?
It's been in my, this year's the 91st annual feast, right? It's been in my family for, my father, my uncle, my grandparents, it's been my cousins, tons of people that are here. It's been really a family tradition, that I want to ensure that I keep alive. It's really one of my remaining ties to my, my Portuguese heritage too, which is something that's obviously important to me. And, obviously, we're all here for Our Lady, who's helped me out through, a lot of different times, so it's important to me to continue to do this.
And what kind of roles have you had? Actually, what kind of role do you have now? As a 30-year-old young man, what role do you have here at the Our Lady of Angels?
So definitely, I live a little further away now, right? So during setup, I'm not here as much as I'd like to be, but I still try and come down, once or twice a week while we set up. And then really the 3 days of the feast, Saturday, Sunday, I'm really dedicated to the gambling booth, the wheel, as they say. So really over there for, the bulk of the time. And then Monday, kind of a hodgepodge with the procession, and then we also have the auction. So I help out my uncle in the auction, really running products, helping him cut it up for the kids. I really help him trying to do really all of that. But my main booth, I'd say, while I'm here for the last 6 or 7 years probably has been the gambling booth.
Okay.
The wheel, whatever you want to call it.
And you're actually an elected person on the board now.
I am, yeah. So this was the first year. I figured it would be good to, bring some new, younger blood into the board. So got nominated back in November, I believe it was, and have been on the board since then.
Well, Joey, we're very glad to have you and to see someone so young grow up to be such a fine young man and to also be so devoted and dedicated to Our Lady of Angels Club.
Appreciate that.
Can't do it without you.
That's it. We need more of my generation, to help participate and volunteer. So
absolutely. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching this very special episode of the magazine. In closing, we have some highlights of all the activities that happened to make this feast occur. And also we have some highlights of other special parts of the feast. Thank you for watching.
Realistically speaking,
Oh, I'm in.
Please stand for the playing of our national anthem.
Further out. All right, on shoulder. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Down slowly.
Oh yeah, she's right there.
She needed you last night? Wasn't I on that card last night? You did, that's her job. Hang on. Okay, give it to Mama. Let's go give it to Mama. It's a parade. You want to play with it? Okay. It's a parade. Here comes. Look. It's a parade, Charlie. The first parade. It's a first parade. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I thought she looked familiar. don't know me. They got glasses. Well, I do. Oh, that's right, Joyce. Now I know. Now that was a clue. Yeah. Now I know your mother's gone, but she wasn't here. Oh yeah. She was, and then I would have run away. Back to Gary. You look familiar, but I don't. I got one of those faces you can't forget. Yeah, right? I said it's not. I'll be embarrassed, but it is. I see your brother, Tommy, because he lives right on the corner. Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's a lot